Impact investing is generally new in the continent. I guess if you look at the rest of the world, a mention was made earlier about what happened after the global financial crisis. So we started to see initially responsibly investing, and it's sort of morphing into impact investing, and the two are not the same, because what we've seen in the continent is a lot of investment that's gone, for instance, in sectors like energy, obviously the extractive sector, like mining and so on, done in a more responsible way, even though we still have a lot of major issues in that area. But when you look at some of the sectors that are really important, that are going to transform the continent, whether it is education, healthcare, agriculture, as an example, the amount of investment, social impact investing that's going into those sectors is still very low relative to all the others. And a lot has to do with how the investment landscape, in other words, the supply side, whether it is private equity, institutional investors, philanthropies, and so on, are looking at some of those sectors with a very low risk appetite, and that clearly is a major impediment. And when you look at the Sustainable Development Goals or Africa 2063, Agenda 2063, it talks particularly to those social areas that are going to transform the continent, but we haven't really attracted enough investment, whether it is globally or from the continent itself, into those sectors. So there's still a lot to be done.
Still a lot to be done, Kumar, from your point of view, especially with the entrepreneurial focus that you share?
There's technical differences on what impact investing means, and that's not important for today and this session, except to say that impact investing, you can consider it things that have a further benefit than simply a commercial benefit when you're funding. My sense is that we will always feel and we will always think that there's not enough being done by corporations and by government. And there probably isn't, in my view. But there's a lot more credit need to be done, in terms of, and the reason for that is because we're not always knowledgeable about all the different efforts and programs and policies that are happening on the continent. So it's not in a glossy little magazine, so that's why there's always an expectation gap. And if you look at in South Africa, we have a number of things happening. You've got the Jobs Fund, you've got the SME Fund, you've got BEE, which is not, you could say whether it's technically impact investing or not. We are experiencing a lot of growth and demand coming out of corporate supply chain with preferential procurement. So as much as we can criticize BE for many kind of things, there's one area, in our view, it's working very well is in the preferential procurement, because we're seeing the number of black businesses, we're seeing the growth in business, in traditional type of businesses, so we're feeling that, and that's not always publicized or well known.
That speaks to the transformation element, which is quite needed in the country. And of course, Chris, you're also keen to share your thoughts, given that you run investment portfolios in both South Africa and Botswana, really specifically focused on impact investing. What are the trends here?
Yeah, I think firstly, when it comes to Africa, the problem with impact investing is when we import ideas from Europe or Australia or the developed world, it's often very focused on the green stuff, green energy and that type of thing. And why that's, if I say it's not relevant for Africa, I'm going to have a whole heap of social justice warriors sort of attacking me.
Yes,
but if you take, I like to look at it to say, if you take the tree outside, beautiful tree brings the shade, birds and all the rest of it. That's to you and me, to somebody without a job, it's firewood. How do you protect the environment if you actually don't sort out the base of the pyramid, jobs, food security, housing, education? With that, the environmental stuff becomes a lot more understandable and relevant. And I do believe to protect the environment, we have to create the jobs. We have to actually focus on what's relevant in Africa. We also need to appreciate where is the African economy. We've said it in business. If we can't get our minds around a township car wash business, we are irrelevant in Africa. And that's another problem with impact investing or private equity investing. It's that we've got plenty of funds. We don't do anything below $30 million or whatever the criteria is, well, that then takes up most of, what you can actually do in Africa. And they very often battle to find deals because of these, minimum thresholds. And I think one needs to take in Africa something that's more straddles the startup and micro business, to actually look to actually grow small businesses or micro businesses into small businesses into medium business, to create a progression, because it's the growth of a small business is where the sweet spot of job creation is. One also needs to look at the concept of ownership, is that a lot of financing houses are rapacious. They provide rapacious financing, which is not particularly what I call friendly. We need to actually provide non-rapacious financing, something that helps to keep the enterprise